Namaste. Thank you, Rishali, for giving a basic introduction and introducing me to my friends, architects, builders, people who want to know about Vastu, and people who have been curious to understand this esoteric Indian science. So, being an architect, I am concentrating more on architectural aspect, but this will also be very helpful for people who want to make their homes and who are actually trying to improvise the energies inside the house. So let me take you to the basic concept of Vastu. Now, Vastu Shastra, everybody has heard, you can see in the newspaper, you can read everywhere. There are millions and billions of websites on Vastu Shastra with different processes and different mindsets. But being an architect, I have taken it in a different aspect. And for that specific purpose, I went to Germany. I did my building biology there, study masters, did my diploma in building biology, which is masters now. And then when I was studying building biology, I thought that there is something missing, still missing, in architecture, because architecture curriculum never talks about human anatomy. They never tells us where the heart is, where the brain is, what exactly is happening inside the body. And we as an architect are supposed to be designing spaces for the body, for the human beings. And without knowing the being, without knowing the utility or the characteristic of a person, it is so difficult for everybody else to, for specifically an architect to design spaces. So I did my 1 year learning in bioenergetics in Paris in 97-98. And then I came back to India and started a company called Vastu World. I given it a name World because when I saw this, that there is a lot of differences of energetic understanding in architecture, and there are so many people who are talking about healing processes on the body, but they were not understanding the space and space effect on the body. And that particular thing made me very inquisitive, and then I saw that I need to learn Vastu Shastra as well. Because after doing architecture in 95, I went to Germany, did building biology, did bioenergetics, never knew what Indian science of Vastu Shastra was. And sadly, since 1995 till today, architecture curriculum, architecture colleges, I have few of my teachers and colleagues here. I again request them, we need to include this subject in the core architecture studies or civil engineering or construction studies. Anyways, let's not go into that part. So that all made me very disconnect from the architecture community, and also odd man or a wrong person in the Vastu community or a Vastu Shastra Pandit, which are mostly astrologers and people who don't have any learning or understanding of architecture and building. So I designed my own prophecy, I designed my own system, integrating, intermingling knowledges and learning which I have done from Germany, Paris, India. And then incidentally I found an amazing teacher, Shashikala Anant. Shashikala Anant, my teacher, my guru, who has taught me architecture with respect to Vastu. Architecture has been taught in architecture college, which is MMCA in Pune, where I have learned the basics. But the true architecture, which I call true science of Vastu, is what I learned with Shashi. And since last 12 years, I am still learning with him. And that aspect is I'm going to be discussing today, what exactly Vastu is. So now everybody know there is something called Vastu Shastra. But incidentally, Vastu Shastra is the incomplete word. We use the word called Vastu Shilpa Shastra. So when we talk about Vastu Shilpa Shastra, we are talking about Shilp as the form, Vastu is the space and the object in the space, and Shastra is the science. So it's a science of architecture where we are trying to connect a form, a shape, an object. So Vastu has the roots in two words. Actually Vastu means Vas. Vas means residing, a space which occupies things. And Vastu is an object which is a thing. So Vastu and Vastu and Vas, there are three different words which have come together. So anything which this Vas, this space occupies is Vastu. So right now you're sitting on your chair is occupying you. So your chair is your Vastu. I am thinking, I am dreaming, I have things in my brain. My brain is occupied by my body, so my body is also Vastu. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to define the universe of Vastu through the concept of Shunya. And that is the part of Vedas and Vedic understanding. And Vastu Shilp Shastra starts from a Shunya and goes to the multidimensional space, which is the universe, which is everywhere. Okay, so I hope you understood the meaning of Vastu.
Okay, somebody who's kept his phone very near to another instrument.
Vrushali, you have to start admitting people, please.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah. So sorry. And so this is the overall relationship with an object and a space. And who is the object? Human body. Now when we talk about Vastu, we are not talking about a Vastu like my hand is occupying a particular pencil or a iPod or something, iPad or something, anything, wherever. But the space is Bhumi, and that is the earth where we are all living in. So Vastu is an philosophy of understanding object in the space. Space becomes the envelope, and envelope is in general encompassing all the prophecies of energies. Okay, now I would like to go to the other aspects of Vastu. Now this particular Vastu and space and the object and the human body in the space is not alone. The space has so much of information coming from outside, and all these informations are, which we call radiations, are coming from different levels of the cosmos. So the cosmic radiation, which is also called cosmology. Cosmology is understanding cosmic reality on the earth. So the information of planets, information of sun, information of moon is affecting the whole encompassing envelope, and inside the envelope I am sitting, or the human body is there. So we being part of the Vastu and Vastu being part of us, we are connected with the cosmological impact, sun, moon, planets, everything happening in the upper sky. Next, and this we call cosmic energy. Next level is the environmental level. Environmental level is the level of the human body and people associated with you. Plants, animals, everything what is man-made, which we have built. The house is also part of the built environment which we have created, and which again radiates energies and influences the Vastu in a bigger bubble. So cosmology, environmental energies, everything affecting us, and then from the environmental energy we need to know that we are getting base on a Bhumi or a Prakriti or a base of earth. So there is information coming from the earth as well. So all these three information, and this earth information we call geobiology and geopathy. And this geobiology and geopathy information is also affecting the whole bubble of the Vastu, which is associated with cosmic, environmental, and then again now the new impact is from the earth. We need to study all these three. So Vastu Shilpa Shastra, the science of architecture, the science of redefining the architecture of fulfillment, is not a very simple and very small subject. It's a complex environmental prophecy which works in different layers. It's a science of architecture which works on environment and then the human body together. So it's a subject where you need to be a doctor, you need to be an environmentalist, you need to be an architecture, and you need to be a wholesome, knowledgeable person to handle architecture and Vastu. And that's not easy. Architecture, an architect or a person who handles or makes homes, let's say a developer or a builder, has to understand all these systems and all these influences. So an architect is also called a Sthapati. Now when we talk about Sthapati, if you read books like Mayamatam, Mansara, Samragna Sutradhar, there are hundreds of treatises of architecture and Vastu Shastra. Because this science is somewhere around 1000-2000 BC, it's an old verbal communicative science, like all Indian Shastras which were never written. We were talking and giving it from guru to shishya, from father to son, from mother to daughter. It used to be referral, it used to be informative inferences. And these informative inferences are always dialogues which we listen and hear. It was never written. So there are a lot of misinterpretation has happened in this whole treatise of architecture, which has never talked about the basics of auspicious and inauspicious and bad and good, and it has never talked about people are going to die and people are going to be extremely wealthy, or gain all the prosperity of life staying in a space or architecture. So we need to understand the interpretation in a right way. We need to understand this science, this building science, in a very integrated way, and we need to learn the processes considering human body is the main element. So when I practice architecture, which is part of my Vastu practice, and you can say I practice Vastu, which is part of my architecture practice. People call me to their homes, they ask me, why don't you come and check our Vastu? I say, instead of me coming, why don't you come and have a coffee in my office? So I call them, I measure their energies, I try to understand their body dynamics, which is bioenergetics. Why? Because your body represents your house or the space where you live in. There is a shadow, there is a communicative, energetic interpretation of Vas and Vastu, and that together is a Vastu. So when I am looking at the Vastu, I can understand the Vas, the space where he is living or where he is residing or where he is working. It can be a workspace as well. So I measure the body energies, and through the body energies, I get the information of the house. That is the direct co-relationship between human and the space, and that is what we call building biology. So when we talk about building biology, I always tell, definitely Vastu Shastra is in India, building biology was in Germany. They talk about the scientific understanding of human and space compatibility. They were talking about more on the health aspect. The health aspect, how healthy a building should be, how healthy an architecture should be, that is what building biology is. But in India, we talk about the another aspects, another very important aspect, that is spirituality, is the dharma or the connectivity of soul and prana. So what we have done in Vastu, we have put in the prana into the space. Now prana is the form or the shilp. Prana is the object. Prana is the Vastu, which is moving, which is dynamic. And this kinetic energy inside the body is making us different when we become part of the space. When we breathe in, we take the air inside us. And what is air? Again, another very important aspect which all of you should note, Vastu Shastra, Vastu Shilpa Shastra has the most important interference or elemental connection with 5 elements, Panch Bhutas, Panch Dhatu, which we are made, and the whole universe is made up of 5 elements. And one of the elements is air. So when I am living in the house and I am breathing the air inside, what I am doing, I am taking the Vastu into my prana, the lungs. I am giving the Vastu back to the space. And this coming and going, this pranayam, which we do it in yoga, is actually regenerating, awakening the Vastu with the human body, and human body with the Vastu. So if houses have this kind of energetic compatibility with you, then what you are doing, you are having an amazing prana. You are having an amazing communication with the space, and this space is now entering into your system. And when this space is entering into your system, then you have become part of it, and the whole process of 5 elemental understanding has gone into your space, into your body. Okay, so this is what I have already talked about. Now I think you are also seeing the slides. Roshali madam is showing you the slide. So let's go ahead and then start coming to the slide which I have already come into. So when we talk about Vastu, we talk about communication with the environment, communication with the energies, radiations, everything which is happening and which is coming into the body, and these are the pranas which actually manifest into the space which is unmanifested. And as soon as the manifestation of human body goes into the space also become part of the manifestation. Space also start vibrating. So architecture has a life energy. The vital force of energy in space is human body. And I need to know the human body in detail, because human body is corrupting the Vastu the same way Vastu is corrupting or affecting the human body. So we being the part and parcel of the whole unison of this environmental energy, the universe of Vastu, we need to be ourselves also complete. And that is where the whole process of pranayam, the yoga, the meditation, and the spiritual intent of the body comes into picture. And that's why we sometimes call this architecture a spiritual Vastu. So a spiritual Vastu is to regenerate this life, this prana, this healthy, potential, vibrant energy into the space and infuse that vibration from the space into the body, because we are creating a resonant vibratory field between space and the body. Now resonance happened where? Resonance happened when there is a dynamic movement happening. There is something which is vibrating. Universe is vibration. Everything is vibrating in this universe. From the your mobile phones to the car, to the air, to electromagnetic radiation, from different electrical gadgetries, from the cosmic, from plants and animals, from earth, the organism inside the earth, the tectonic movements. This is all vibrating. When they are vibrating, they are creating a particular kind of magnetic field. Now anything which is vibrating and moving in a particular direction or with an acceleration, and there is a velocity, then that particular electrical field which is full of charge becomes electromagnetic. Our body is full of electricity. The environment is electromagnetic. When I move, when do I move? When I take breath. The pranayam. I am moving every second, every minute of a second, my body is vibrating and moving. And that is where we are trying to now create a communication of electromagnetic spectrum. And this electromagnetic spectrum of the body is resonating with the electromagnetic spectrum of the universe. And this is where we come into the process of understanding architecture and how spaces are actually affecting us. But there is a big question. There is a big question that how did all these norms and systems of electrical and electromagnetic and everything was part of, and how it has become part of the traditional Vastu. So spiritual Vastu is definitely you close your eyes, you connect to the cosmos, you do meditation, you are dreaming, you are having so much of information coming in. All this is understood. That is spiritual. But traditional Vastu talked about a very important aspect, which is direction. Apart from 5 elements, which is the core of spiritual Vastu, traditional Vastu talked about 9 directions. And when it talks about 9 directions, it never used a compass. In traditional science, they used to use sundial. They used to follow the norms of sun. They never used to follow a magnetic compass. Now, today we are trying to use magnetic compass and follow and study the traditional science. Is it possible? So, in traditional system, the east were the direction with the most important direction. They used to first create and establish east as the base direction. Today we talk about north as a direction because compass shows north. Sun is the east. So the most important concept is east. Direction east. So there are cardinal direction, there are ordinal direction or non-cardinal direction. But in Vastu Shilpa Shastra, the norms were that you should always face the cardinal direction. Your house should not be in the axis. It should be straight. Why? Because there is a direct communication with the north, south, east, west. And that also has a big science of direction. In this platform, in couple of hours, it's difficult for me to make you understand, but I'm trying to give you a basic understanding. So today you will know that why east was important, because it's the direction of sun. And the first and foremost awakening, the knowledge, whatever we are trying to get information from is east. So direction facing east. How do you face? If you are facing east, what exactly you are trying to achieve, what exactly you are getting. So we are talking about sun, awakening, knowledge, information, everything is east direction. And from east, and again it is people who used to follow the direction of east, they used to walk towards the east. If you see the Egyptian mythology, the king and prince of Egypt walked towards the south, towards the Pluto, because they were part of the eastern world and Pluto was in south. From east, you walk towards the south, and south is Yama. But Yama is not always death. South is Dharma. The Yama is the god of Dharma, and Dharma is the spiritual movement. So to get the spirituality, to understand the process of life and death, you go towards the south, and south is that important direction to face, because a lot of time you need to connect to the spiritual intent of life and death, which is the core purpose of this universe. And from south you go towards west. West is the direction of Varuna, and Varuna talks about adventure. Adventure is ocean. Varuna is the god of ocean. In India, we on the western side we have ocean. You have to cross, to cross an ocean, you have to do an adventure. So growth, anything where we want to start new, move, travel, do some adventure is the west direction. That is also very important. So like sun and spirituality, this west is also a very important direction. And from west you go to north, because now you need kubera, you need dhan, you need money. And from money you also need to understand that you want to process this whole information you have collected from east to south to west, and now you are going to the north. North is also a direction of healing and herbs. People who want to seek healing, people who want to get the power of medicine and get yourself healed, they should always face north. So why not our hospitals and our treatment places should face north? So we need to understand, and this wheel is always already invented. We don't have to work on it. Thousands of information on Maya Matam and Mansara, they talked about direction, but with respect to a particular intent. Now comes the next part, which I want you to understand is, from elements to the direction. We have covered most of this universal formula, universal intent which goes into our body as, and what is the overall soul of creation is, understand the directional impact and understand the elemental creation. Okay, so when we talk about element and direction, we also need to understand that this element and direction is creating certain energetic changeover inside the body. And this human body who is performing, who is being part of this Vastu being a Vastu, is also radiating. So now we as a whole or as a soul or as a prana inside the house need to look into ourselves also. So we are talking about Sthapati. Sthapati is going to be an architect, and architect is going to make my house. Now architect those days never used to work individually. You always used to be a collaborative effort. And we need to know architecture, and architects should know about us and who we are, what is our behavioral pattern. Now architects need to understand the psychology of the person for whom he is designing the house, or for whom he has already designed the house, and now this person living inside the house is not feeling happy, not feeling harmonious, not feeling healthy. What is missing? Missing is the vibratory connectivity. This is where the electromagnetic radiation comes into picture. And when we talk about electromagnetic radiations of the human body, the vibratory connectivity of the body with vibratory connectivity of the space, we are actually trying to study physics of biology. Alright? And the whole cosmos is communicating with us through physics of biology. And the human body inside is made up of chemistry. There are a lot of chemicals, there are a lot of fluids, there are a lot of chemical processes happening inside the body. So we are trying to understand in architecture physics of biology, and then the chemistry of the body and chemistry of the whole system, the whole organs, what is working, So human body is a charged particle, or we have electricity inside us, and this electricity is ultimately creating a communicative vibration with the space, and this is what Vastu Shilpa Shastra is. So Vastu Shilpa Shastra is, in general, understanding energetic balance of the human body with energetic components of the space, and we are trying to create a compatibility. So when we learn as an architect the energies of the space, we also need to learn energy of the human body. This is where bioenergetics comes into picture. Now bioenergy is a science where we try to understand the overall chakra vibratory pattern, and there is a pattern happening in the body, and each pattern and each diagram and each let's say geometry is trying to create organic communication with each other, and the Vastu, the Vastu inside us, or the Vastu as the body, is the Purna. it is a complete system. It is not in different parts. You can't study a heart separately or a lung separately or a liver separately. They all have to be understood together. Similarly, in architecture, we should never talk about a kitchen or a toilet or a bedroom as a separate entity. They are all working together. And that is the core of architecture and Vastu. That it is Purna, it is together, it is a complete system. And in architecture, we need to follow this complete system with total understanding that a master bedroom and a kitchen and a drawing room and the main door, everything follows a particular rhythm and a pattern. And this is also geometry. And this is sometimes we call sacred geometry of the universe, which is imprinted on your house. And now your house, which has the sacred geometrical pattern and a rhythm of things happening together inside the home, needs to follow and communicate with the macro environment and a micro environment, and both these environments need to in synthesis, in synchronity. Okay, so another factors comes into picture which we talk about is the main entry. What about the facing of the house? My house is south facing, my house is east facing, my house is west facing. How does this facing matters? So if you have a road, let's say the study of direction, another important aspect, I think we have some time, I'll go to a small scientific relevance of traditional Indian architecture. They never talked about individual spaces, they talk about the settlements. So the study of settlements, which is following this intelligent architectural pattern, which is Vastu Shilp Shastra since ages, we have settlements all over the world, all over the country, in fact, north direction, south, east, west, you go, they have human settlements which are built since centuries, which are centuries old. And all these settlements have a pond in the center, a temple, around that temple there is a water pond, and around the water pond there is a streets. There is a movement, a walkway or a road. So there is a road which is south of the temple, north of the temple, west of the temple and east of the temple. Now around this road there are houses. So sometimes a house which is on the north side of the temple is called a northern house, but it has a road on the south side because it is looking towards the temple in the center. So the direction facing of the northern homes are south facing. Facing of the southern homes is north facing. Now we need to understand what is this whole science all about, The science of facing is what we are looking at or what we are looked upon, and what you are looking, subject and object is very important. You need to understand this particular behavior. So direction of south facing houses are bad. It's not good. There is no text, there is no references anywhere in the world. And this is what I'm telling you since last my 25 years of experience in this subject. This is what I have been discussing with my teachers all over the world. There is no specific norms. So these are all misinterpretation knowledge. And most of these teachers and most of these philosophers who have written these books are astrologers. There are misinterpretation, there are incomplete reading and understanding of the whole subject in totality because they never looked at the Purna. Now kitchen should be in southeast and you have a house south facing. So how do you define that as soon as you enter you have a kitchen? Consider the traditional knowledge, in traditional homes the wife or the female of the house always used to be backside of the house because she was the master of the kitchen, and she should be behind the house, not in the front, because we have a male dominant, or there is some kind in traditional time the women have to be behind and she has their own world behind, she has a private space there. So now how a south facing house which is in the temple settlement complex can have a kitchen in southeast? Not possible. So there is no standard formula. The whole science is getting into the mess because of this formula book, the small pocket book of formula. There is no formula in Vastu and architecture. It has to be individualistic. It has to be according to the function of the space and function of the Vastu, that is human body or the form or a space relationship. So we need to understand this in a very scientific way. And there comes the prophecy of scientific Vastu. So from spiritual we come to traditional Vastu, and from traditional we come to the scientific Vastu, where in scientific Vastu we have taken the information, relevant information from spiritual, most relevant information from traditional, but we have tuned it to today's circumstantial, today's way the people work and think, today's generation of technical people, where mind is the most important aspect and considered as the most important element of the body. So here comes the whole prophecy of understanding certain invisible energies. Now, invisible energies those days were studied and understood by sthapatis. In spiritual Vastu or traditional Vastu, there were sthapatis. And sthapati is who? Sthapati is somebody who is an elevated soul, who is somebody. So in general, there are three characteristics which I have read in some one of the book, and I really liked it. The human body, the normal insan, is called Atma. Uplifted or knowledgeable, extraordinary, meditative soul is called Jivatma. And the God and the Paramatma is the Ishwar, Bhagavan. So Atma to Jivatma and Jivatma to Paramatma is the whole process of life. And a Sthapati is supposed to be a Jivatma, because architecture is the seventh science. He should understand the poetry, he should understand the sound, he should sketch, he should have a knowledge of sculpting, he should know dancing. So he is a versatile human being who is so much educated that he is trying to reach towards Paramatma, and he is supposed to be then designing the house so that he can see, feel, understand the invisible energy, and that is which we call resisthesia. So in scientific Vastu, there is another terminology which has come in, which is called resisthesia. Now what is resisthesia? You know anesthesia? Anesthesia is when you go under an operation, you are given a particular injection so that you lose the senses. The sensitivity is lost. Resisthesia is where sensitivity is increased. So feeling has to be inculcated, feeling has to be awakened inside us. So an architect who is doing his architecture MR or BR 5 years or 7 years need to learn how to feel first to become a Sthapati, because he is looking into intangible, non-perceptive energies which are ears and which our ears cannot hear and our eyes cannot see, and those energies are also affecting the environment and Vastu. And there comes the another technique of understanding resisthesia, where we use tools and remedies now and tools and system to measure these energies. So here comes a instrument which we call Laker antenna. Now this Laker antenna has different switches inside it, and I hold it. When I hold it as an architect, I am trying to connect with different frequencies and wavelengths, because as I've already told you, everything in this world which is moving has electromagnetic field. Electromagnetic field is frequency, and frequency has wavelength, and we can tune into that wavelength, the world of frequency, through resonant. So I am creating a resonant vibration of understanding the cosmic vibration of this house, which I cannot see, which is beyond my spectrum of listening and beyond my spectrum of conceiving. So I cannot perceive it, I cannot see it. So what should I do? I am still a Sthapati, I am an architect, and I have to design a house for my client. So what a Sthapati is supposed to do? A Sthapati is supposed to go to the site a week before, stay there for 10 days, understand the phenomena of the land without making the house. He used to understand how the trees are growing, how the organisms are having, how nights are happening in the land. He is supposed to live there and feel the vibrations. And then he will come back and design house for his client. But we cannot do that. We don't do that, because we are living in the societies of different circumstantial and different situation. But I still want to understand the hidden vibrations. I still want to know about how things are, trying to connect to me. And that is where I am trying to use this antenna. And this antenna, which has the different frequencies, you can connect different parameters to it, hold it, and then this vibratory field will create a resonant communication with the space and the hidden vibration of the space. Again, these vibrations can be from under the earth. These vibrations can be from under the earth. Can we ask the question in the last part, please? Let me complete this. You just write it down and put it into the chat box, so that we can complete this and I'll answer everybody's queries. And these vibrations are following a particular wavelength and communicative traits, which I can decode using these instruments, and there are several other instruments which measures the electromagnetic and magnetic force of the earth, which measure the cosmic vibration of the electromagnetic spectrum which is coming from the sky. So this is what I have learned in Germany in building biology. And in Paris,
I have to put a picture of that, Mayank, you can on the screen of Sthapati.
Yes, I can see that. So you are putting in the slides. People can see it on the slide, and Rushali is going to do this slide thing as I'm speaking, because I'm not concentrating there. Okay, so now the whole process, and again when we talk about Sthapati, there was a specific class and community of people which were Vishwakarmas, and the Vishwakarma community used to have that genetic understanding and learning of spaces, and they were given that information through their morphogenic or epigenetic through their hereditary, so that they can become architect and they can make a Sthapati, and they can see unseen and intangible energies. They can communicate with plants and animals of the land, and they can also understand the vibration of the Bhumi. So a Sthapati in a traditional knowledge should know everything. And as an architect, do I know everything? As an architect, am I capable enough to have this knowledge with me? Am I giving or do we have the whole educational system which is providing us this kind of knowledge? No. So what I need to do? I need to learn these separate systems together, and that's where we have started an institution, as Rushali has already told you. We teach everything integrated in our institute called Prithvi. And at Vastu World Academy, you can come and learn all these things together. Whatever is required, we have cut short it, we have cropped it, and then put into a right format, whatever is needed. Anyway, so this is a tool to measure hidden energies of the space, try to make people understand the vibration of the Prakriti, that is earth, the Bhumi. So the balance of human energies with the environmental energies, Vastu Shilpa Shastra, and the environmental energy is comprising of four elements. Purush, Pran, Prakriti, and Panchang. Again, people know about it. What is Purush? Purush is the body, the energy of the manifested human being. I am the Purush of the space. Pran is the energy flowing in the space. Prakriti is the universe, the environment, the earth energy and everything coming into the the metaphor of existence, from cosmology to geopathy. And Panchang is the right time. So I being in a space in a right time with a proper energy is going to create a amazing architecture, which is the divine architecture, which is the energy of manifesting and energy of combining macroorganism to microorganism. And that is where the Brahmin, the whole philosophy of understanding the philosophy of Brahma is the creator of this universe. That's why it is called Brahmin by Sthapati, the Mayan knowledge, the Mayan, and it is also called Mayanic theory. Vastu Shilpa Shastra is also called Mayanic, science of manifestation. Okay, so I have given you enough input about the basis of what Vastu is, how all these energies affects us, how it ultimately makes us uncomfortable. So at this particular moment, what are we trying to do is, we are trying to understand the vibratory connectivity of the body in the space. Space is big, human body is small. We cannot affect, or if affect also, we cannot change the whole hierarchy, whole philosophy, or whole the process of process of creation in the universe. But very important aspect is, if environmental energies are affecting me, I am a small soul. I am a specific body of small 5 element, which if these 9 directions are affecting me, then I am getting unhealthy, I am getting sick. Here the whole fundamental of sick building syndromes comes into picture. Here we are trying to understand how my immunity, my overall strength is getting lost when I live in a house. So how homes are making me sick? Because homes are not in balance with my energy. And what is my energy? I can use this tool to measure your energies. I can use this tool to measure the environmental energy, and then I can create a compatibility, I can create a cohesiveness. And this is the medicine which I give as an architect. This is what I've been practicing since last 25 years, where I call the client to my office instead of going to his Vastu, measure his energies. There is a chart in this picture. Rushali, can you show the chart of human body analysis there? I put it into rectification slide. So here I am going to measure your body. Through your body I am going to identify individual spaces in the house. Where is the kitchen? Where is the toilet? Where is the bedroom? How you are sleeping? What kind of inferences are happening? What kind of interferences has been affecting you is all going to be decoded from the body energetics, and that's what bioenergetics is. And through this bioenergetics and body energy, I am then going to be showing you what exactly is, this is the chart. So in this chart, if you see this, you can understand that when we talk about human energy, we are trying to understand the overall concept of understanding your cosmic, global and telluric energy. And cosmic, global, telluric energy is directly taking me to your house. So through your body, I am going to identify the directions. So we measure 5 specific energies from the body. Cosmic is from top of the head to throat, everything happening in the upper part of the body related to northeast of the environment where north, northeast and northwest directions are taken care of, and it goes into the frequency of 1.5. So I set 1.5 here and I am measuring the cosmic energy in this tool. Now if you can see on the screen, there is global energy, everything happening between throat to navel, which is the Brahmasthana of the house. Brahmasthana of the space is from where house breathe. And from the navel we have taken first breath, or we have been given information through our mother's womb from the navel. So Brahmasthana is the global energy, everything happening in the environmental level. Cosmic is northeast, everything happening from all the radiations coming from the cosmos, which is sun, moon, planets, astrology and astrophysics. Global is also electromagnetic radiation, everything, your mobile phones, your cellular phones, or your technology, your dirty electricity, all molds, funguses in the house, everything is affecting you and you are becoming sick. These all come into global energy. And third is from navel to lower part of the body, that is southwest, telluric energy, earth energy, geopathy energy, energy of the Bhumi, energy of the Prakriti on which we are residing. Okay, so Bhumi is female and Purusha is male. That's why there is a combination of Vastu Purush Mandala. If you have heard about Vastu Purush Mandala, Vastu, Purush and Mandala. And Bhumi encompasses the Purush. Purush is male. And then Bhumi leaves Purusha in certain part, certain time of the day or certain day of the month, and that is the time where you have a auspicious day to construct a house. Why? Because Vastu Purusha is awakened. And Vastu, Purush and Mandala is the sacred signs. Then you create a sign on the land because now Bhumi is allowing you. Otherwise Bhumi or Prakriti never allows you. Anyway, so earth energies are manifested through the vibratory communication of human body with the earth, which is still 300 meters below you. And we have tools and machines with which we can measure. They are called earth magnetometer. I can measure the noxious, not healthy vibrations of the earth. If I am sitting on a chair and I have a grid line or a geopathic stress line under me, I will have a lot of diseases and problems and uncomfortability. The diseases can go till the level of cancer to infertility to your spinal issues and mental breakdowns. And people have been suffering. Go to Google, you will find thousands of websites talking about geopathy as the earth concern. And it has been invented in 1930. And architects, you can see the next slide, which is of Newford. Roshali can show the next slide. In 1930, Newford has already talked about, yes, the slide before this. So if you see this, building biology, geopathy, and unhealthy buildings. No, this has been in 1936. The first German edition of Neufeld book, Art of Designing Architecture, has talked about geobiology. Think about it. In 1972, Architectural Association has been formed in India. In 1936, they have already discussed about geopathy and geobiology and how gamma rays, radon rays, and telluric and terrestrial radiations from the earth are affecting us. So according to me, Vastu Shastra now has been concentrated from all these Sthapatya Vedas and from Ayadi Shadvarga to Vastupad Vinyasa. Now it is comprised only of geopathy and geobiology, because 90% of the problem since last 30 years which has been associated in Vastu Shastra is from the earth, not from all the other elements, because we are taken care of it. Anyways, so next slide will tell you how this geopathy and geobiology affects, and this is where we talk about the grid lines. If we are sitting under the earth and we have a grid lines below us which we cannot see, again these are intangible energies, this we cannot see, we need a tool to measure it. And if we measure it, and you as an architect are supposed to be designing a building or a bungalow in a particular piece of plot, and there is a geopathy, then don't follow the formula of northeast entry and southwest master bedroom, or southwest should be the building, northeast should be opening. No, follow the science of creation, which is geopathy. If geopathy is in southwest, then make the bungalow or a building in northeast, because you cannot fight with earth energies, irrespective of you do any puja, part or havan or anything. This is my experience, and this is what I am telling under my what my knowledge is. I'm not trying to quote or degrade anybody's knowledge, but this is what I would like to tell you. Anyways, so we are again going back to the energy side. So we have measured cosmic, global, telluric. Now we are measuring lymphatics. Lymphatics are northeast and southwest. So we are now trying to southeast and northwest. Southeast is Agni, which is the right side of the body. Rushali, can you connect to the same slide? And that slide will tell you that we need to measure the fifth energy, which is telluric, which is related to the lymphatic, which is related to your left and right side of the body, which connects to your fire and wind direction, northwest and southeast. So through the directional analysis of the body, we have understood from the 5 element communicated to the directional analysis, and through your body with measuring 5 core energy centers, I have understood the architecture of the space. So what happens? Clients come to me, I measure their energies using this, and there is another connective wire which we can connect to which a person has to hold in his hand, and I am getting all these readings, and then I am sketching his house. Because if I am getting a left polarity twist from the antenna, that means his house is negative. House is negative means his body is responding negativity to that environment. The response of the body from that environment, because there is an imbalance in the radiations, has started weakening up, and the chakras which are supposed to be blooming have become blocked. And when they have become blocked, through the principle of resonance, following the electromagnetic radiations and measuring the energies, I get the information as the left polarity. And if I am getting the right polarity, that means he is connected well with the space of that particular direction, and he has no interferences and no objects which are troubling him. Another very important aspect which I need to talk about here is understanding of interior of the space with the body. So when I am trying to say compatibility of the space with the body, what I am trying to say is not only architecture. There are different elements in the house. In traditional system, the house was not interior designed. People used to bring in their experiences and bring in their whole functional aspect into the interior. But now we call interior designers. In olden days, there used to be only the pictures of ancestors, or in traditional time, there used to be pictures and statues and manuscripts of traditional spiritual god and goddesses. Now in the house, we are bringing in so much of element, and in traditional time, those days, you used to bring in the god and goddesses with whom you can connect, where there is a relationship, there is a synchronity, there is an energy communication between that object or that god with me, and that's why I have bought it in my house. These days, interior designers put random things everywhere. You don't know what has been put, you don't communicate, you don't know the meaning of the painting on the wall, because the designer liked it. You don't understand the colors. So there are so many small things again create interference. And interference in energy is shifting my chakras, and when my chakras are disaligned or become weak, I cannot sleep. And if I am not sleeping for months and months in the house, I am getting diseased. And when I am getting diseased, my whole immunity falls apart. My whole synchronity of body defense system reserves, energy reserves come to the earth and thrashed. And then the viruses comes and attacks me. Then I become weak. Then I am running behind, and then I am put into the lockdown. And this is what has happened, the whole process is we have overdone the radiative, we have not respected the human capacity to absorb this radiation. 24/7 we are with the phones, we are with the radiations, we are having so much of innoxious rays coming in, pollution from the paints, unwanted building material, unhealthy things coming into the house from different part of the world who doesn't belong to India, or the house or the temperature. So what we are trying to do, we have created a hell inside our home, and this particular vibration has disaligned and created a bad or a weak negativity or weak energies which has made us come down, and we have lost the immunity, we have lost the sources to fight with the environmental aggression, and that's why we are weak. So this is the core of particular aspect of Vastu Shilpa Shastra which I am talking. In this we start processing the information from plot level to building level to room level and to human level. And this is where we go into the process of rectification. If you go to the next slide, you will see that how do we exactly do the process of rectification. And process of rectification is depending on how, I think Vishali, you have to let me do the screen work, and I'll do the screen sharing. Okay.
Okay, I'll make you the host.
No, I am already the host, don't worry.
Okay.
So I am now trying to connect myself to the screen so that I can show you what exactly I wanted to show in a because the time is going ahead, and so you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
You guys can see the screen. Perfect. So we talked about chakra, we talked about Panchabhuta, we talked about how the energies are manifested, and how building is a living organism, how building has a prana. We talked about Vastu as a technology, we talked about the lost science. We also discussed about application of Vastu in architecture, because it is therapeutic, it creates spaces which is connective to the grid, connective to the whole cosmological imprint, which is part of the energy mapping inside the house. And we understand the mother wall, we understand the Brahmastan from where the house breathes. And if you're choking the Brahmastan, if you're having anti-clockwise staircase or columns on the Brahmastan, these are the vital points of the house. You need to respect, as an architect, as civil engineers, or as a homeowners, find out the center point of the house, because there everything grows. That's the relationship sector. And need to understand. I've already talked about the front door. There are a lot of myths. There are a lot of things. None of the directions are wrong. South is as good as north. And when we talk about front door, we are bringing in the prana vayu from the house, from the threshold it is coming in. And in olden homes, in traditional homes, they always used to have a door right behind on the rear side, so that prana vastu comes inside, or prana vayu comes inside, and appam vayu goes from backside. So you are creating an axis, you are creating centering the house, the way we center the house during yoga and meditation. It is also called Kaya Madhya Sutram. Again, my teacher Shashikala Anand has taught me this process, that you need to center the body to create a specific aspect of your meditative upliftment and enlightenment. Similarly, you need to center the house. House behaves as the body behaves. House characterizes you, and you characterize the house. So the information of the house, or the communication or the layout of the house, is directly showing the characteristic of the person who is living in. There are a lot of other aspects. Again, slope of the land, directional, up, down, southwest should be heavy, northeast should be light. All these are just adding 5% in the whole manifestation of Vastu Shilpa Shastra. Think about the bigger aspects. These are very small aspects. Not a single text has written that there is to be hierarchy of levels. We try to understand, we try to put the intent in the house. That's why an architect should know how to feel the environment. He should know and feel the plants and soil of the land before he designs. So this subject is practical. Vastu Shilpa Shastra is not taught on online. It's not an online subject. You have to come and you have to communicate with the earth and land and then learn the process. Because you are feeling, you are creating resisthesia. Resisthesia is sensitivity towards the environment. You need to unblock the feeling part. We have stopped feeling each other. It is difficult for us to feel the space. Space sings and we need to listen. We need to know how to, take the whole process in. I've already told you about this. The rectification process starts with this antenna. The first thing is I measure your body. Through your body I get the information. And from the information of the body I design the whole process of your space according to you. It is custom made. It is 100% tailor made. There cannot be a rule book. Again, try to understand this. I'm trying to emphasize on this because I have been fed up telling people that don't you unblock it. Remove the wrong information. Go towards the east. Get yourself awaken. Seek for the right knowledge and then come back and design homes and become an architect. So I'm sure you have understood what I have been trying to tell you. Now I'm going to show you some of the processes which we have followed and some of the things which I have done. This is a bit blah 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 about me, but it will try to give you a basic understanding of what I do. So I have done a lot of work since last 20 years. I have also given a very strong, because I travel Bombay, Pune very often. I have studied the geopathic stresses under earth negativity of the express highway, where we have found out that seven spots in express highway where you have so much of accidents happening. You know why? Because as soon as you go to there, your chakra disaligned and you get a blank or you get a dark, or your eyes or your mind become blanks. Because your chakra disaligned at the cosmic level at the upper part of the body, which troubles your morphogenic zones, and it creates a psychological impact. So these are the 7 spaces we have found out, and we have also given this to the authorities that these are the 7 spaces where we need to put remedies. So there is something in Khopoli, somewhere in Khandala, Shedung, and then Amritanjan Point, which is now changed, and the bridge is already broken away. Now I am sure there will be another stress which has come up, which we still have to again go and measure. And there are bypass near Kivle. So these are some of the aspects which I have worked upon. I also worked with, as Vishali has told you, with B.V. Doshi. He is my guru, he is my teacher, and I have been very close to and blessed to be with him in this particular time of his life, where he has gone into a spiritual connect with architecture. I learned a lot from him. We did an Amravati project. We did a lot of work. I spent 6 months in his office working on this, and it was a great experience. We also do a lot of industrial projects, which are this is the way we design and try to understand the problems. We do apartments, small things. So wherever there is a human in space communication, wherever there is human, it can be 10 feet by 10 feet watchman cabin to a multi-acre or a hundreds and thousand acres of wineries or townships. We can get into and understand and follow the same protocol of measurement energies and understand and see the intangible energies affecting, tangible energies affecting, and then try to modulate them, try to rectify them. This is a big temple complex which we have done in, which we are part of it in Rajasthan. So, and all these processes, later on when I was working on them, I thought that human body is incapable. We are becoming weak generation to each generation. Now we need a solution. It's like having a headache and taking a paracetamol. सर दुखता है, आप दवाई खा लेते हैं, गोली सोचते नहीं है डबल. वैसे ही अगर आपके घर में बीमारी है, if your houses are weak and if your houses are not responding to your energies, you need solutions, you need remedies. And that's why then we went into the process of designing remedies, and we have come up with different remedies. Some of the remedies you can see it here behind me. I have here. These are creating scalar waves, which are radiative energies. This is something which we call, which works on yin and yang relationship harmonizer. So there are so many things happening here, which is working on different aspects. And this particular thing we need to learn, we need to understand, because all these devices and remedies which I am talking about, all these solutions which I am talking about, which you can see on the screen, these are energy portals, they are direction portals, they are black box disruptors, they are working on geopathy, they are actually what they are doing. You know, all these things are ultimately creating a efficient environmental energies which we have seen following the protocols and following the energetic paradigm, and found out that that particular corner of the house is deficient in this particular energy: cosmic, global, telluric, magnetic, electrical, these 5 energies, and we have created solutions accordingly. So we talk about 5 elemental plates, we talk about 9 directional plates. So this is one of the directional plates, northeast, where I am sitting in this room. This is this room's plate. So we have created certain metaphors and certain energetic plates which talks about, and these are again different symbols. So everything is iconography, everything is symbolic. In India, in traditional sciences also, when we talk about Ganesh ji, when we talk about temple, when we talk about any shape, all these shapes have a communication with the body, because we are all working in a pattern. And this pattern is also called Shadvarga. So in olden homes, they used to work in grids, they used to work in particular modules, and each modules are is calculated with the Shadvarga of the human body, his nakshatra. So the Karta of the house, or the eldest person of the house, his hasta measurements were taken, and then his dimensions were created. And then his house was made according to his dimension, not for the general dimension. That was called Shadvarga and Ayadi Shadvarga. But we cannot do this at this moment. It is so difficult for us to follow those norms, because every 6th day or 10th day or a couple of months or a year, you change the house. Those days when architecture and Sthapati used to design homes, they used to design for 2 generations. That means if I have designed your house, your son and your grandson can still live in that house following your energetic footprint or energetic rhythm. And after that, we have to again change the main entry, because house is a static, our house is sthir, and this is an ancestral house. So that time what we do, we change the dimension of the door, that is follow the Shadvarga calculation from the grandson's energy now, because now he has to take care of our next 2 generations. But these days, every 6 months, every 2 years, you travel, your jobs are changed, you change houses. So how do I create Shadvarga in your own house? That's why we follow energetic pattern. We measure your energies. And through energy, we are trying to manifest the same traditional systems into the Vastu. Are you getting me? That is the purpose. So we are now modified. We have manipulated the whole process of traditional Vastu Shastra into the scientific Vastu Shastra, where we are talking about individual products. And all these products which you see on the screen, and you can go to the website also. I think Vrushali is going to take you to the website now in some time, where we can show you what are these health vitalizers and how these things are actually worked upon. So these are energy cards. Again, they are working. You can go to our website 48infinity.com, and you see how I have created a communication from sacred geometry to the body and from body to the space. And this is what I have been doing since last 20 years. This is my passion now. And being an architect, I try to connect to people. I teach. These are some of our workshop pictures where students have learned from us and they are practicing. You can see these instruments are being used by thousands of people all over the world, where they talk about these things, and they communicate with you. Vrushali, why don't you take them to the website and show them some of the health vitalizer and other things?
Yeah, I'll do that.
And until the time, if you have questions, you put it on the chat, and then we can discuss on the question answer session. I think I have given you enough intent to ponder and to understand, learn from the sundial to the temple to the another very important aspect. When we talk about sundial to the magnetic compass, there is a difference of 8 to 12 degrees. So in tradition, east is the direction which they used to follow. So if you want to follow the true traditional science of Vastu Shilpa Shastra, you have to orient yourself to the sundial and go away from the magnetic compass, and then follow the east instead of north. And when you follow the east, and when you are trying to understand the vibrations of your house and try to see whatever is disconnecting with you, and you don't need this tool every time, you know. You see the objects in the house and everything is proportion. Vastu Shilp Shastra works on proportions, works on distances, works on shapes, patterns. So if you have bought a painting in your house or a statue of Ganpati or any specific things, let's say I can see a painting behind Swati's house. So if this particular painting and that particular green color have been put on the wall, then how it is responding to you? So a lot of people, like I have a library behind me and a computer in front of me. So that means I have a knowledge behind me and information in front of me. So how my body is reacting to this information and this knowledge? Because there are books and the computer. So object and the synchronity to the space is Vastu Shilpa Shastra. So without having the tools, you can still follow it. Roshali, I'm still waiting. You can connect to the website. I'll be talking. I can talk for hours. So what I'm trying to tell you is, do this exercise in your house. See whatever doesn't make you feel happy, just shift it couple of centimeters away. And try to tell people that, you know, this is, or tell yourself and tell your family member that whatever you don't like, keep it away. Don't. And in fact, those days in traditional sciences, traditional system, they never used to put any spiritual things into the bedroom. Unclutter your bedroom is the core of Vastu Shilp Shastra. Remove unwanted things. Let it be light and communicative to you. The bedroom should only have a bed and you, nothing else. All the other information is not required. And that is what Shilpa Shastra talks about. So these are some of the basics which I can tell you, and rest of the time you have to follow, go to the Vastu World website as Roshali is going to be telling you. So over to Roshali, you can speak now.
Okay, so in fact, though it was a detailed brief session, because there is lots to cover actually. So obviously, before announcing our next workshop, basically just wanted what sir was mentioning, that we have lot of remedies, and this is our website, that is www.vastuworld.com. So here when you go to the store, so we have lot of remedies. We have interior, exterior, geopathic, health vitalizer, EMF shielding, and of course measuring tools and books. So when I'm talking about interior remedies, basically like sir mentioned that we can go in for correction, without breaking or without doing any structural changes. So obviously, when we go, when the house is already built or the flat is already constructed, so since we are not going to do any breakages there, so we have remedies which can be put inside the house. So these are all very technical remedies, and obviously you will have to take consultation for getting these remedies installed and how these remedies are going to benefit you. Now, in fact, post consultation, if you go on to the cart if you go on to a particular remedy, we also have installation guides there. So you can, so that is a thing which we have now. But coming to something which you can use it for your own health and something which you can still benefit yourself. Plus, you don't require, a consultant. You can order it online. These are health vitalizers. So this is something which will help you to increase immunity, to help you with your own to get in changes or get in harmony in yourself. So we have so these are the health vitalizers. So you have Labyrinth, you have personal geo neutralizers. Then you have so basically like for example you have metal vortex gyrating energizer. So this is something which will help you to which creates an electromagnetic field and which will help you in activating dead spaces. Then you have black box disruptor. Again, this will absorb all negative vibrations which are there. So supposing, say you are working in an office, obviously it is not possible for you to maybe get a correction for the whole building. but you can correct your own office or your own cabin. So these are small remedies which you can get them installed in your personal space.
Yes, Harji, I can hear you.
Very, very thanks for giving me so much knowledge for the Vastu. So many architects joining from Ludhiana.
Wonderful.
Can you tell me this is the for the north zone, for this zone, small direction of the sun, right? So some tips. Can you give me the what direction, what type?
See, normally what I try to tell you, I got your Harji. Normally I try to tell you that if people, as I've told you, east, west, north and south, there are 4 basic directions. So when we talk about east direction, it is awakening, it is knowledge. So if you are looking at getting the knowledge, or if you want your children to study well, they should face east. Whenever you are trying to learn something, design something creative. So I always tell architects, engineers, chartered accountant who have to use a lot of their brains, they should always sit facing east, because that's the sun direction, and that is universally best for everybody. Facing east is good for everybody, for all utilities. As I have told you, this is a custom made system according to the function of the work, what you do. Let's say if you're a landlord, and if you're a landlord and you work with money, you don't have to apply a lot of your brain because you have employees in your office. So I tell you to face north. Are you getting it? So you should face north. People who want to travel, people who want to grow their business, start new ventures, they should always face west. And people who want to go to the spirituality, management, the old people who want to relax and then have that connectivity of life and death and retire, they should face south. So all these directions are according to the function and according to the character of the person. There is no standards. Okay?
Thanks.
Okay.
Mayank,
Yes.
Mr. Nimrat asked a question. I'll just read out.
Yes.
How do we measure energy for each and every member in the family? I have recently designed house for 17 members, and each and every member of the family are different.
Yes, so everybody who is above 18 years, we measure each and every family member with this antenna. But to create a standard pattern of design, we always follow the Karta theory of traditional Indian architecture. Traditional science says the Karta is the head of the family. Head of the family, like who is the working member, who is the controller, he can be he or she. It can be mother also, it can be father also, or a grandmother or a grandfather. We measure their energies and design the whole house according to them. But when we are talking about the bedrooms, and if the people are above 18 years, we measure individual energies and then concentrate on their bedrooms only. So we create a micro environment for them inside their bedroom, and the whole house is from their father's electromagnetic radiation or electrical or magnetic energies, which is anyway conducive to them because they are living with them. ओके, सो जॉइंट फैमिली में हम लोग सबसे एल्डर आदमी को जिसको सब रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं, हु इज सपोज टू बी द एल्डेस्ट, वी डू द मेजरमेंट अकॉर्डिंग, डिजाइन अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट. But it is always better to measure all the 17 people if they are above 18 and try to give them the specific environment. Somebody has raised hand.
Somebody is raising his hand.
Yes, you can speak. You can open up your.
Mayank.
Yes, Swati.
See, I do a lot of work in and around the jungle area,
Mm-hmm.
So there, the land energies are more important
Absolutely.
than the client's energy,
Right,
because
right.
it's entirely forest, and actually we are foresting only, and
Yes.
those are small farmhouses that I go into.
Yes.
So in that case, what kind of energies and how the surroundings, what is a major aspect I should look
See,
for?
the major aspect is geobiology. You need to study the geobiology, the plants, the saplings, the sapping of the trees. You should also plant some seeds and see how they grow. So the whole process of feeling tasting the traditional, follow the traditional method of tasting the soil. If it has a lot of salt or it has alkaline content. So, and then we have instruments. This instrument had a probe which can go into the earth, and we have some around 25 geobiology frequencies. So with this machine, you go to the site and measure the geobiology vibrations and create a geostress mapping. And this geostress mapping guides you and tell you the places where you need to put the house, which trees can be cut. Sometimes I have seen in some of the cases, Swati, in areas where there were amazing tree forestry, and the owner want to make a farmhouse in between, and there was no space to build the house. He have to at least cut 10 to 12 trees. Tree cutting is always negative because you are going away, you are troubling the ecosystem and the nature.
Absolutely.
So what I did is then I created a whole energetic boundary of the trees. We energetically killed the tree first and then cut them off, because the tree communicate with each other. The whole jungle is a uniform forest. From below there, all the roots are connected. And if
Yes.
you cut one tree, other tree gets harmed and they feel bad and they create a disharmony in the forest. So
Yes.
there is a process, I can help you in that. There is a process
Yeah.
where we create an energy circuit, make them live in that energy circuit for some days so that they feel that they have been left out with the neighbors, and then they
Yeah.
cut them and then make a house and then again replant the trees around it.
Yeah.
So
I'll get back
geobiology,
to you.
geobiology is your subject to learn.
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
one question. When we construct a new house, whatever the direction, north, south, east, west, can you tell me the which point we have to mark? So I have to in mind who we design the according to that direction. It can be any north, south, or east.
No, Harji, the problem is not, there is no formula. The whole approach is you need to measure the human energies first. उस अभी नॉर्थ डायरेक्शन में चार्टेड अकाउंटेंट के लिए घर बनेगा तो इट हैज टू बी अ डिफरेंट डिजाइन. सेम नॉर्थ डायरेक्शन में बिल्डर डेवलपर के लिए बनेगा तो डिफरेंट डिजाइन, एंड आर्टिस्ट के लिए बनेगा तो डिफरेंट डिजाइन, because it has to correspond to his nature and his characteristic of energies. So there is no formula, but yes, try to follow a specific norm of following the nature and try to जैसे मैंने डायरेक्शन का बताया आपको कि नॉर्थ इज फॉर कुबेरा एंड हीलिंग. So if you are designing somebody and somebody wants to have a healing in the house, or somebody is sick and the house needs to be, so making them okay, face north. Okay, so then we can specifically work on this.
Okay, so there is a question by Nikhil Date. He's saying, if I have to start my architectural work, but I have some negative energy in me and around me, then what kind of this energy? Can you suggest me something for me?
Yes, we need to measure your energies, Nikhil. You have to reorganize yourself. You have to get your chakras aligned, and as soon as the chakras are aligned, you will start understanding. And if you are an architect, this should be the first and foremost thing, because as an architect, you need to get yourself organized. It is like therapy of the therapist. If you are not aligned, you are not 100% oriented to the space, how can you design? So this is also one of very important aspect. And we can talk to you, we can try to help you. So you can connect to me later and I can try to help you individually.
Sir, astrological problem is solving by Vastu.
Astrological problem is information from cosmology, cosmic imprint on the earth. So planets and suns and everything has an information input to the space and to the body, and definitely it impacts the Vastu. But as I have told you, Vastu is not remedial, it's not a solution to the bimari. You cannot solve the problem, but you can create a balance and you can live a happy life, harmonious life inside the space when it is in balance with the cosmological information. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. The question asked by Gary, it came to my knowledge that Ashoka trees are not good in the boundary of the house. So what's the remedy?
All the trees are good. According to the Shastras, anything in the nature is good for all directions. There is a misconception people have created, unwanted information download to you that people is good for this and this is good for anything in nature. All vegetative, all animals are good. There is no specific direction for any specific place. The more you close to be with the nature, you are more connective to it. So according to me, there is no harm planting any tree anywhere, as long as it doesn't trouble the roots, the foundation of the house, or if the tree is old and it may fall into your roof, then you should cut it off. Otherwise, all these trees are wonderful around you.
So, one more question asked by Parshva Shah. If any house WC oblique bath location is on northeast Devsthan. So what is remedy for that? And if house have water tank in southeast Agni location, so what is the remedy for that?
This is a very detailed question. It's difficult for me to answer, but I can give you a small brief about it or a basic guidance that Agni underground water in southeast is not good. Anything in Agni south which is underground is not good. But if you have a water in southeast which is an overhead tank, then there is no problem because water is good in the southeast because it also creates a energy and it is also a fire energy. Toilets in northeast, yes, northeast and southwest are not two good zones for toilets. But as I've told you, we always design the grids and design the pattern according to Ayadi Shadvark of the person. We try to create protectors and try to shield the negative vibration coming out of the northeast toilets. Again, we use this tool of Laker antenna, measure the energies and try to shield it, create a single identity, cut it off from the house so that that vibration of northeast toilet remains there and it doesn't trouble the house. So there are some shielding processes. You can go to Vastu World website and see we have cosmic symbols and specific geometrical symbols for putting into the toilet so it doesn't radiate negativity outside.
And can you tell me Agnikon which direction?
Southeast.
Agnikon.
Southeast and northwest. They are both Agni. They are both. You can have kitchen in both these directions.
Okay.
Sir, Sushmita is asking a question. Why do people mostly not choosing south-faced villa?
See, these are again it is lot of people, most of these people who are written books and who are processing or possessing certain knowledge after reading few of the books and they become Vastu consultant have been propagating this myth and this wrong information of south facing is wrong. Function of nose and function of ear is different. They are having a different facing. So accordingly, all the facings are good. You need to design the internal spaces according to the rhythm and the pattern and radiations from the environment and communicative with the energies of the owners for whom you are designing. As I have told you, this directional impact and directional analysis is just 5% of the total Vastu. There are a lot of other information. Try to go into the 5 elemental theory. This is much better than direction because directions are there are a lot of blockages from the direction these days because you have buildings and homes just next to each other and sunlight doesn't come, wind forces doesn't come and the whole environment, the 5 element becomes weak. So we need to work on different aspects. But according to me, south is good and people have created a misunderstanding and developers and builders have created certain kind of wrong notions.
So somebody has asked, they say 100% Vastu isn't good. So any comments on that?
100% Vastu is not possible in this universe. You have to become God. So Shiva can have 100% Vastu with Parvati on Himalayas.
So इसके ऊपर भी एक और एक क्वेश्चन पूछा है, when everyone is fine, still we should change.
No, you should not. If the Vastu, see that's what I'm trying to say. The rule book doesn't tell you the truth. Rule book is not right. You see your house according to your own self. If house is good and your vibrations are good and you're feeling good, then there is no Vastu issue. Don't follow. If you have a northeast, I have seen northeast toilets and people are prospering and they have IITs and PhDs in their house. I have seen southwest underground water tank and people are multimillionaires. So don't try to go into that aspect. Go to the energy aspect. Energy is most important in Vastu. According to what I have. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, Atul. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
This concept that we are talking of, I feel is feasible as far as a bungalow is concerned or a single dwelling is concerned.
Yes.
What happens when you have a multi-dwelling type of scenario?
Yes, so an apartment, we consider your apartment as single identity and create zones into it and try to understand the house without the earth. So
that's for a single apartment.
Yes.
What happens for a block of apartments?
Then block of apartment, people are different living, If the block apartment is not sold and the builder is the owner, then according to builder's energy, the apartments will function. But when you have individual owners, the owner's energy and the building energy or the apartment energy changes. So every apartment on top of each other will have different energetic footprint. Did I answer your question, Atul?
Okay, sir, one more question, I think so. It's an interesting question. So, does the spirituality help in improving the environment irrespective of other things?
Yes, spiritual architecture, spiritual Vastu talks that if you are connected and if you become a soul or the prana of the house and you are doing a lot of good deeds and energies are moving according to you, there is a possibility that you dictate the terms instead of environment. So you become the instrument for the space. That's why spirituality, doing good things, following good processes of life makes Vastu and human energy come together and there is a synergy. So definitely spiritual spaces where there is a true spirituality happening is vibrant enough.
Okay, I think so. Before we end, one last question, sir.
Yes.
Again, this is interesting. Constructing homes near burial grounds is good or bad?
No, as I have told you, Vastu, Shilpa Shastra is the science of environmental energies, and anything which is negative, anything which is not communicative to the space, which is death element, which is not where people find it difficult to habitat, is not good. So burial ground, in fact temples, we also say that you should be away from the temple, you know. Temple means places which has high energy space. Hospitals, burial ground, temples, you should be away, and your space should not be energetically. We need to again use this instrument to measure that how far your house should be, and try to avoid homes near burial ground unless until there is a rectification done, unless until there is a process has been followed which are not radiating the negative energy inside the house. Any other question? So I
Sir,
think
there are, but then
no, you can ask. I am okay. Just let's complete it, Brushali.
Okay. So, what is the remedy if we have staircase circulating in anti-clockwise direction?
Yes, anti-clockwise staircase is creating negative vibrations because you are moving towards the left. You should always move right when you are climbing up. That is the space. So again, it is creating a left polarity. There are different solutions, and the most critical solution which we do is we have special energy reflectors. We put energy reflector in every alternate treads and risers if it is circular. Otherwise, one in every flight if it is dog-legged staircase. So it depends, but yes, there is a definition, definitely a problem of anti-clockwise staircase.
Okay, sir. The honeybee nest. If
Yes.
there is a honeybee nest in house, is it good or bad?
No, honeybee nest is not good because it is bringing in the geopathic stress. Whenever you have a geobiological shift, there is a negativity in this earth, then you have honeybee's nest. It is connected to the earth vibration. They live on your window next to you, but they are feeding information or they are getting the power from the earth. So negative geobiology or geopathic stress creates honeybee, and the solution is also you need geopathic reversers to remove that. We have done a lot of projects like this for industries and personal homes. You just correct the earth element or the geopathic stress is removed, honeybee goes automatically, they run away. You don't have to kill them.
Okay. Why do bathroom and puja are not under the staircase? Basically, I think so. She means under the staircase or under the
Yeah,
stairs.
because you are climbing on top of it, you are creating a energy flux, which when you are in a bathroom, I don't know, bathroom under the staircase is, I don't think is an issue. But according to me, according to what I have learned, puja should not be, because you are climbing on top of it, you are creating an energy flux. There is a dynamicism in the space, and when you are in a temple or a puja sthan, you need static and a calm and silent energy inside it. So it creates a vibrancy which is not conducive when you are doing dhyan or sadhana or you are doing puja.
Sompura make all the temples.
Yes.
How are they trained for it?
See, they are
by
the
Dr. Begani.
they are all Vishwakarmas, you know, they are from the Vishwakarma tradition. All Sompuras are Vishwakarma tradition. It has come from one generation to another, and they follow it. But these days, Sompuras are also become modern, and they are these days doing a lot of shortcuts. If you are trying to make a true temple, then you need to get a proper sthapati who can make a temple for you. So, if your sthapati is Sompura is a community of Vishwakarma, then it can be good.
एक last question था, temple shadow on house is good or bad?
See, shadow is again, that's what they say. You should not be very near to the temple because temple has a very vibrant cosmic energy. वो हमारे residential energy के साथ communicate नहीं करती है. So you become very vibrant. People become very aggressive or get extra charge of energies. So shadow का यही मतलब है कि दूर रहना चाहिए. It should be away from the temple. So houses should be away from the temple. That's why temple complexes used to have a complex, and the center Brahmastan used to be the temple. Then there used to be water around it because they want to not radiate this positive energy into the residential or human settlement. That's why हर मंदिर जो ब्रह्मस्थान में होता था पहले, उसके आसपास पानी का तालाब होता था, फिर रोड होती थी, फिर घर होते थे. So that's why पूजा स्थान, अभी हमारे घर में टेम्पल नहीं बनते, पूजा स्थान बनते हैं. Then that's okay, that's not a problem. Thank you for attending this webinar, and I am